Evening, folks, and welcome back to the View podcast. And as you can see, I'm joined by former Leeds United player and Republic of Ireland international Ian Harte to have a little bit of a chat about the Legends game that's coming up on the 10th of May in the Carlisle grounds in Wicklow, which is the home of Bray Wanderers Football Club. We'll get to that in a few seconds, but we would be remiss if we didn't take the opportunity to speak to Ian about his time at Leeds and his career and what he's been doing since as well. So we've got a couple of questions from our members. We've got a couple of questions from other YouTubers that have sent them over as well, and we'll get into them as well in due course. But Ian, first things first, how are you? And thanks for doing this.
Oh, very well. Now it was good to meet you. Obviously, over in Ireland, the weekend gone. Myself, Stuart Dallas, and Andy Cousins. So I'd say it was a great event. Good evening. We all enjoyed it. But most importantly, thanks for having us on, Joe.
I'm delighted to have you, mate. Really, really appreciate it. And it's a good cause and it's a good event worth talking about as well, and trying to, get it out to as many people as we possibly can. Ian, just to start then, and I suppose we should start where we are right now with Leeds. What are your thoughts on the current campaign for Leeds United after the madness of the last two games against Sunderland and Sheffield United?
To be honest, I have to say I like the manager. I think he's tops. I think there was people questioning him earlier on the season, last season. Daniel Farke needs to go, but nah. To be honest, he's the perfect manager for Leeds United. I think this year's squad, I think it's a better squad than it was last year. I think there was great individuals, Somerville, Routier, and you had obviously Harte that was there as well. But I have to say there's a special togetherness within the group, and see the last two games obviously against Sunderland they're losing. They couldn't score two goals late on. In the game against Sheffield United they started very well. Sheffield United come out of the blocks, and but I think once Leeds got the foothold into the game, they just grew. And obviously that Tanaka, he's one hell of a player. It was just I was sat watching it on telly, and I was delighted with the results. Yes.
Yeah, I was doing a watch along, having an absolute meltdown when the second one went in, and then when the third one went in, eruptions. So yeah, fantastic moments this season. It looks, I don't want to jinx it, but it looks as if we're heading back towards the Premier League. So important that we all enjoy the next couple of weeks, because next year is going to be an entirely different proposition for us.
Well, it is. It's I'm sure the kind of the people that are the head of recruitment guys. I'm sure they're already planning on players to bring in. I think probably going to have to strengthen in pretty much every position. Fairpo, I'm sure his contract's up at the end of the season, but yeah, you're gonna have to strengthen across the back four, pretty much across the midfield, and obviously an out and out striker as well. So the good thing is 49ers group. They've got deep pockets, and obviously it has to be sensible. It has to be the right type of player that's going to come in, and I think that's what Daniel Farke is about. He doesn't want any bad eggs to come in and upset the group, so it's going to be important that the recruitment guys check and make sure that it's the right type of player for Leeds United.
Yeah, the last time we were in the Premier League, we got a lot of players who wanted to play in the Premier League, but maybe necessarily didn't want to play in Yorkshire or play for Leeds. So we got a couple of mercenaries that came in and unfortunately didn't work out for Leeds. So some bad decisions that were made. But hopefully, as you say, with the deep pockets and some lessons learned from the last time there, we'll be in a much better place when we do get up, because I think we're there. But Ian, I want to kind of start at the start of your career and get into that as well, because you did speak to the Only Leeds Bros podcast at the event on Friday night, and they asked you about your starting point when you left St. Kevin's Whitehall and you went over to Leeds as a young lad, and how that went on. But I wanted to kind of go a bit deeper than that and ask, what was the biggest difference that you saw now for kids versus when you went over as a young lad? And what benefits or differences do you think could help or hinder kids at this point?
I think, obviously, when I moved across, what it was like 15, 16, I moved across as a striker. Obviously, times have changed. I think back then, younger lads were given opportunities probably earlier than we might have deserved. But obviously, if you don't go in and take your chance, then you might not get the next chance, or you might have to wait a couple of months. So it was important that when you did get on the pitch, that you tried to impress the manager. The difficulty, I think, for young lads now from Republic of Ireland compared to Northern Ireland, because they can move at 16. So obviously it's all the strength conditioning, obviously the fuel that you're putting into your body, the rest, recovery, the way football has changed over the last 10 years. And I think those players obviously moving for Republic of Ireland at the moment, a few of them are going into Germany, one's going into Portugal. So they're tending to, well, at the moment they can only go into, because of Brexit, But I
Crazy.
think majority of them want to go to England, but obviously they have to go down this route to then try and somewhere down the line get back across to England. Yeah, it's difficult. I think that's why probably the Ireland team is suffering a little bit at the moment as well. So obviously, when I mentioned before, most of the lads played in the Premier League, top end of the Premier League, with some quality within the Ireland setup. You're looking at most of the players now are Championship League One players. Obviously, Evan Ferguson. He's obviously on loan at West Ham from Brighton, so it's difficult at the moment, but hopefully, it's just gone through a cycle and we'll come out the other end with some quality players.
Yeah, there's a couple. There's a John Joe in Spain who had a fantastic debut against Real Madrid as well. So as a central defensive midfielder. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's a couple of decent young lads, and as you say, the route has been more indirect than direct to the UK. And I think some of the English players have followed that route as well, where they can't get into the first teams, heading off to Dortmund or Germany to make the name for themselves, and then come back in as much more established players. Seems to work. But I mean, there's been a pretty significant change in how academy players are treated from an educational perspective and when they start at a club. And on Friday night, you talked about cleaning boots and having a pro. And I'd love to know, do you feel the change in approach for academy players now where they don't do that stuff anymore and it's more about just their own development? Do you think that's kind of removed a little bit from the toughness maybe of players nowadays?
yeah. Obviously, when I started out, YTS, I was on 30 quid a week. I think nowadays it might be over £200, obviously, but yeah, that was kind of like the fundamentals of being a YTS, having to clean the balls, clean the boots, obviously clean the toilets. You know what I mean? Our U team managers were Paul Harte and Eddie Gray, which obviously Eddie's now an ambassador of Leeds United, but I have to say they were absolutely brilliant. But they were so strict. But everything that you earned along the journey, you know what I mean? You earned it because obviously they were pushing you to be the best that you could do. And you're looking at young players nowadays, not saying all of them, but quite a lot. They're soft. There's no leaders in dressing rooms compared to the days of when we were playing. And yeah, I would love to see young lads now. Obviously, I think it's important for these young kids to kind of realise, and obviously under Bielsa, when Stuart was there the other night and he was mentioning that he made them go out and pick all the rubbish up and fill it up with bags, you know what I mean? Like these are grown men, and all of a sudden they're out there, and he says like lots of people have to do this it's their job, and they want to be able to come and watch Leeds United, and so, but I think it's a great kind of grounding for these young lads cleaning boots and balls, and but obviously with times it's changed, and you can't really shout at anyone nowadays because everyone classes it as bullying, and obviously we got shouted at you wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
But to be honest, it pushes you on, because obviously I didn't want to be getting on that flight going back to Ireland, having failed, and obviously having Uncle Gary at right back and me at left back. It was pretty special.
Two strikers, both playing fullback for Leeds United, well,
I
natural
know, yeah.
strikers.
Yeah, yeah, it was good, and obviously moving out 15, 16, you do get homesick. I say 30 quid a week, £20. I was took down to the bank by Paul Hart in Allied Irish Bank. £20 was saved, and I had £10 to spend. £10 was pretty much, you got your bus pass. Your digs were obviously sorted, so you get your food in the club, and you got your food at home, and the £10 was really spent on phone calls back home. So yeah, but listen, it was an incredible journey at Leeds United. Lots of young lads that were coming through the academy at the same time. Obviously, Irish, Steve McPhail. I remember Robbie Keane came across when I was across, and Robbie was a year younger. And whoever it was said Robbie was too small. I think he was too small at that time. And sure enough, then 4 years later, they bought him for 12 million quid. So, yeah, what's a player?
What a player is right. I did cross paths with Robbie when I was a kid. His brother lived in Brookfield in Tala, and I lived in Jobstown in Tala. So, and I played for Brookfield for a little bit under Graham. So,
Yeah, I
I
know
did
Graham.
play a
Good
couple of
guy,
games
yeah.
with Robbie, although he wasn't supposed to be there. But I did play a couple of matches with him a couple of times. So, yeah, absolutely cracking player, good bloke as well. Yeah, Steve McPhail, you mentioned. I mean, what a footballer that Steve
Oh,
McPhail was.
yeah,
If he hadn't had the injuries, maybe you're talking about a different class of player.
Maka was one of the best that I've played with. You could not get the ball off him. He was so composed, so relaxed on the ball, but yeah, it was no, he was so gifted as well, you know what I mean? Yeah, obviously Gaz was there, you had was a couple of other Irish lads that was there. There was Boots Grant,
Mm.
Alan O'Shea was there, Jamie Marks, obviously from Northern Ireland. So there was always a good group of Irish lads that kind of came across. And yeah, but Macca was very, very talented.
Yeah, Damien Lynch was another one that was there as well.
That's
Again,
right.
another player.
Yeah. Alan Mabry. Yeah, there
Unfortunately,
was loads of us. Yeah.
yeah, Alan Maybe was quality as well. I played against Damien Lynch in a friendly match once, and he was playing for Bowes, and I was marking him, and I gave up after about 25 minutes. I just couldn't keep up with the fitness level that he had, just coming straight back from England to Irish football, and just the difference was light years by just trying to keep up with him. So, yeah, we've always had a really strong history. There's a couple of Irish lads there at the moment making the name, like Keane Coleman's in their 21s at the moment, but nice to see some more Irish lads come out of the Leeds Academy in the next couple of years, just to keep the connection nice and tight with us here at home. I
That's
wanted to
right.
talk about your move away from Leeds. There's a ton of Leeds questions that we'll get at the end of the video that everyone has sent in, so I don't want to spend too long talking about
Okay.
them at the start, taking those away. But you left Leeds I suppose, a strange time in the club's history. It was a bit of a mess behind the scenes. Financially, everything was falling apart. And you moved off to Levante in Spain. We kept a close eye on you when you were over there. All the Irish lads
Yeah.
did anyway.
Apart from Brian
How
Kerr.
did that move come about? Obviously, the club was a mess, but how did that move come about? And then how did you find the transition going from UK and UK football and the health and fitness regimes in England to what you
Yeah.
faced when you went into Spain?
Listen, I didn't want to move, but obviously the financial problems that Leeds had at the time. Kevin Blackwell came in as the manager, and there was two other left backs. One of them I can't remember his name, but obviously Pugh was there as well. And I knew
Mm.
that I was better than the two left backs, and I'd been away obviously in Spain summertime, and I came back so fit. Kevin Blackwell pulled me. He says, "It's best you move on if you want to play for your country because you're not going to play here. We need to get lads off the wage bill." So I was kind of forced out the door. Obviously, at the time I was out in Spain, and my agent says, "How would you fancy living and playing in Spain next year?" And I was like, "Yeah." I says, like, "Who?" He says, "Levante." I says, "Who the fuck are they?" So it was because obviously they hadn't been in the top flight, and obviously a lovely part, of Spain, Valencia. We trained in a obviously we went up. Me and my wife went up with my agent. Had a look around the training facilities. We're up in a place called Buñol, where they have the tomato festival. Yeah, my wife wasn't too happy. But obviously, moving away from home, it's a massive step for myself and her. And sure enough, 3 weeks later, we're on the plane. Well, I'm on the plane going out to sign for Levante, and she was packing the house up and getting the move across. Yeah, I'd say I enjoyed my time there. Ben Schuster was the manager, who then went on to manage Real Madrid. And yeah, it was obviously in Valencia. You have Valencia and Levante. Levante is the oldest team in Valencia, and great history. I loved my time there. I was there for 3 years, and I scored the very first goal for Levante in La Liga. So yeah, it was pretty special.
The history books. How'd you find the move, like from a footballing perspective, like what they do footballing wise versus what we do in the UK?
It's pure football, training, like tight, small-sided games, rondos, just purely possession based compared to obviously England, you know what I mean? And they try and keep control of the ball compared to, I'm not saying in England they don't, which they do, but it's obviously used to as a fullback playing the ball up the side of it, for your winger. No, it was brilliant. It was really, really good. I enjoyed it. Obviously couldn't speak a word of Spanish, so it took me a bit of time, but I'd say the lads were great. Maybe made me feel at home.
How's your Spanish now?
I can speak. Obviously, when you go back to Spain, obviously living over in England, you don't get an opportunity to speak it. But when you go back to Spain, then you're able to obviously practice it and speak it. And obviously, it's a fantastic language. And I say 3 years there. I did. When you're over there and you're waking up every morning, shorts and t-shirt, and then all of a sudden you have to move back to cold England. Yeah, it wasn't great. No, it was a brilliant experience, and I would definitely say to more players, be open minded, and if there is an option to go and play, definitely don't close the door.
Yeah, I suppose it adds to your game as well, playing in a different style of football regularly.
Yeah, well, at that time, obviously I was playing. I spoke to Brian, who was the Ireland manager, and he says,
Mm.
if you go to Spain, I'm not going to be able to keep an eye on you because obviously at that time games were only televised really for Barcelona and Real Madrid. So I didn't get called up into the Ireland setup for about a year and a half, which I was disappointed with because I knew that I was doing so well. Obviously, playing in probably then was the best league in the world. Eventually, I got called in. We played against Israel in the Faroe Islands, and I scored an unbelievable free kick in the first game against Israel, which we drew 2-2. And then we played the Faroes. I scored in that one as well. So the two games I got called back in, I scored in both games.
Hell of a statement to make when you've been out in the cold for a little bit, or out in the heat, I should say, for a little bit.
Yeah, it was nice. Obviously, nice little tan. But not only that, I was fit. I was fit as a fiddle. Obviously, over there was a lot of intensity, kind of running, especially with the heat as well. You know what I mean? It's trying to acclimatise to the heat, and yeah, it was brilliant.
And he came back to Reading then after that as well. I worked in Reading for a period of time with Microsoft, so it's a hell of a transition to go anywhere to end up in Reading. So yeah, but fair play to you.
Well, I come back from Spain. I actually went to Sunderland with Roy.
Oh, Sunderland first, yeah. Sorry,
Yeah,
you were Bournemouth as
yeah,
well for a while.
yeah, for a while. I was there for a year, and then obviously went to Blackpool for a few weeks, and then I went to Carlisle. I scored 19 goals one season playing centre half for Carlisle, and deadline day, I ended up moving down to Reading. I think for the ref, well, a fee of 770 grand. So it was crazy. I think they sold Gylfi Sigurdsson, and they needed someone to come in who could take free kicks. Brian McDermott was the manager. He was the one that brought me in, and thankfully I repaid him many a times.
Good guy, Brian. I've spoken to him a couple of times. We had him on the podcast a year or two ago, and I've kept in touch with him. He's a good guy, Brian.
Oh, he's a gentleman, yeah.
Yeah, he should have had a longer crack at Leeds. I think the ownership at the time probably didn't help the situation. Didn't help the situation at all. So, but yeah, good guy. Ian, you transitioned then from a playing career to being an agent that you are now, which isn't the normal route that a lot of footballers, especially mainstream footballers, go. It's usually coaching or broadcasting. What made you decide to go into that world? And then, as an ex-player who's played at an elite level, what do you offer young players now that maybe a non-playing agent can't or doesn't offer them?
I've always fancied going down this route. Never fancied kind of coaching because, listen, you're out the door early as a player. You're obviously traveling around the country. Obviously, I miss the kids growing up and being able to take them to school. You're away every weekend. So, obviously, the joy is now I can take my son to school, maybe to see my daughters, even though they're obviously a bit older now, but you can spend a bit more quality time with them. You operate off your phone. You know what I mean? If you need to go and see someone, you get in the car and you drive. But yeah, I'd say I've enjoyed it. What can I offer? Well, I can offer a hell of a lot more because what have I achieved in the game? Well, I've played in the Premier League. I've played in the semi-finals of the European Cup, semi-finals of the Champions League. Played in the World Cup. You know what I mean? So the knowledge that I have from obviously playing the game compared to someone who's never kicked the ball in their life, I can definitely offer like players when they're not in the manager's plans. Certain agents might say, hand a transfer request in, but maybe you need to go back on the pitch and you need to get fit, or you need to improve. You know what I mean? Put the graft in, because I think what you put in, you definitely get out. And yeah, I offer a hell of a lot more. You know what I mean? I come and watch games. I give them advice afterwards. I'm blunt about it as well. You know what I mean? Where I sometimes listen to certain agents and they're talking to the players, and the players have had a bit of a shock on. Oh, I thought you done well today. I'm thinking, well, you know,
Yeah,
you're lying to them. If you do that, you're not going to look after them for long enough. Honesty is the best policy, and that's the way I've always said I'm going to operate. So yeah.
I suppose you development comes from learning, and learning comes from not winning necessarily. You learn more from the mistakes that you make in your life than you do from the successes. So, yeah, absolutely quality.
Listen, the best players in the world, they all make mistakes. You know what I mean? We all make mistakes. It's about learning from them mistakes, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, but if you can't identify those mistakes, and you can't learn from them, so it's important to know when you have made those
Yeah,
mistakes, as you say. Yeah.
yeah.
Ian, let's have a quick chat now about the reason we're having this entire conversation is around the Leeds United Legends games, which takes place May 10th in the Carlisle grounds. Anyone considering going to it, the link is down below in the description for the tickets at Eventbrite. You can get them there. There's been a lot of players named. We'll go through them in a couple of seconds. But Ian, how has this all come about, and what's your involvement in it?
Well, I came across to kind of promote the game. Obviously, Andy Cousins, but it was more Colin and Tony. I don't know if you know them. You obviously met
I know
Tony,
them. Yeah,
and they're
yeah,
the
Tony
ones
Brown.
that
Yeah,
were obviously, and Steve as well, who's a massive Leeds United fan now. Steve at
he
the
is.
moment is going through a bit of a tough time, and obviously I've got a good few because obviously we have a WhatsApp group with all the old lads on it. Lucas Radaby, Rio's on it. You have Verdukes is on it. So all the lads have sent him a video message wishing him the best. You know what I mean? And we obviously appreciate him supporting us when we were playing. So obviously it's giving him a little bit back and sending a little video just wishing him well. And we hope to see him on the 10th as well to come, because when I flew in to obviously try and promote the game, he picked us up from the airport, and he's a gentleman, you know what I mean? So yeah, but this game is obviously for Tony. I think he's well known within the Irish football, and I actually met him for the first time the other night over in Ireland, and what a lovely, lovely man. Now I met his family when I was over to promote the game, and it was brilliant to see him there the other night and have a good chat with him and a bit of a laugh. And he's looking forward to the game as well. So yeah, make sure you get your tickets. I think there's lots of people from England that are going to be flying
There is.
across. There's a massive support of Leeds fans over in Ireland. So yeah, please come along. It's going to be a cracking day. There's going to be some good players coming along. Obviously, Andy's cousins is coming. You have Mel Sterling. You have Matt Kilgallen. I think it was just been announced Jermaine Beckford's coming as well.
Come.
I remember when I was down at one of the Leeds games recently. It was actually against Cardiff when Leeds won 7-0. I saw Nicky Bourne there, and obviously Nicky was a goalkeeper at Leeds at the time, and he went off to go back. He didn't make it in football, but he made it with Westlife. So I think all the lads that played football would love to be in a boy band. He would love to have obviously played football. So I did mention it to Nicky, and we're going to try and get him along as well on the
Nice.
day. So it's going to be a brilliant event to come down, obviously support Tony. Yeah, it'll be a good game. A few old unfit players running around, so it should be fun and games.
It will be, and it's against the Borough Legends, who are a group of lads that played in South Dublin or played in Dublin leagues, but played Southside Dublin, St Joseph Boys, not that those kind of clubs. And the cup on offer is the Tony McGurk Cup. The cause for the game is around Tony McGurk, who has a strong history in Dublin football, especially in the south side of Dublin's clubs as well. So yeah, and a history of Bray Wanderers as well. So very, very worthwhile cause. Top bloke, very, very much worth getting involved and trying to help this cause and get down, and a chance to see some Leeds players in Ireland. They haven't been over in a while, so it's a nice chance to see Leeds back in Ireland. As you've already said, there's a couple of names been announced. Mel Sterling and Paul Rainey will be the managers for Leeds on the day. Michael Bridges is coming, Andy Cousins is coming, Ian Harte, Ross McCormick, Matt Kilgallen, and now Jermaine Beckford has also been added to that mix as well. I'm sure I'm missing one or two. There's more to come as well. So yeah, and I get Nicky Byrne in goal as well, and maybe he can do a halftime sing along for everyone as well. But
I know.
Yeah,
there you go.
no,
Bring all the Westlife fans as well.
bring them on in. Yeah, bring them on in. Great stuff. Well, look, it's, as I say, the details are down below. We will be constantly updating you on the channel when we get some news from the guys around new players being added in that as well. They are looking for sponsorship opportunities as well, and you can find them on Facebook under the Borough Legends, and the guys are there. And if you can't get them directly there, you can reach out to me. Contact details down below, and then I'll pass it on to the guys for you as well. But they are looking for some sponsors for the event as well. So again, chance to get your name seen and be involved in a really, really cool cause. And we'll get to some quick fire Q&A, so I don't want to keep you too long, but we did put it out to the members of the channel if they wanted to ask you a question, because this isn't live tonight. And I did ask some of the other Leeds United YouTubers as well if there was any questions that they'd like to ask you, and a few have thrown them my way. You don't want to spend a huge amount of time on the answers on this. We can do them pretty quick if you want it. But the first one came from our very own contributor here, Andrew Stats Dalton, one of the most knowledgeable statisticians that Leeds have floating around and does some work in the gantry for the Leeds hospitals. He's asked around your feelings about making your debut for Leeds United against Reading way back when.
Yeah, I'm sure it was myself and Andy Gray came on. I came on obviously up top of the pitch as a striker. So yeah, you're nervous coming up the pitch, and I remember I got slid through, and obviously nerves, you know what I mean. But I didn't take the chance. I take the opportunity. But no, when you look, well, obviously you remember them games, you know what I mean, making your debut, and obviously Andy then went on to play a hell of a lot more, you know, in the younger years, and obviously then he played for Leeds against Aston Villa at Wembley. He was probably the best player on the park for Leeds United that day, but unfortunately got beaten. So we, as a group of kind of youth teamers, got on the bus, went down, obviously supporting the club, and brilliant to see Andy do well.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, he had a cracking game. My brother's an Aston Villa fan, so we don't talk about that game in my house. trying to avoid it at all costs. Second question comes in from Joe Wayman from Just Joe's Show, and he said the best player you've ever played with and against.
I would say the best player I've played against probably Zidane. Zidane or the original Ronaldo. I know, two special players. Now there's obviously a list more. Gabriel Batistuta, but I'd have to say probably them two. Best player I played with, probably have to say Roy Keane. I know
Yeah,
obviously Leeds United fans are not going to be happy with that, but I played with Roy obviously in the Ireland setup, and yeah, one of the best midfielders ever.
yeah, tough as nails. What a player for. I'm going to clarify that. What a player for Ireland.
Well,
That
what a
gets me
player
out of
for
jail.
Ireland, what a player for Manchester United. And when I go on about leaders in the dressing room,
Yeah,
there's your leader there. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. If it's not going your way, someone to grab everybody by the haunches and drag them over the line. So
Yeah.
yeah, very much so. Okay, one comes in from this question was asked on Friday night by a very young lad in the crowd, and I just thought it was a cracking question, and I wanted to ask it again. So I'm sorry that I don't remember his name, but he will be the mascot on May 10th, leading the team out. He did win a prize for that as well, so that was great. But he asked, who was the player you played with that you trusted the most on the pitch?
Probably Roy Keane.
Yeah,
Roy Keane, obviously at Leeds, I have to say Verdukes was amazing. Olivier Dacour, I have to say Olivier Dacour was like a special player. But obviously with the Ireland team, it was Roy because it's the game that stands out. We played against Holland to qualify,
yeah,
to kind of from the group to then go into the playoffs against Iran. And within the first 5 minutes, Roy smashes Mark Overmars. And then we kind of lift and raise again. We're going to win the game. Gaz gets sent off. Jason scores the goal, but they had, strength and depth to their squad, the names that they had on the pitch that day. So yeah, the person that I would pick is Roy Keane.
that's one of those games, that Holland match, that I think every Irish fan will be able to tell you exactly where they are and what happened. I was in a pub in the Clonsilla Inn in Blanchardstown, and pandemonium when that ball went in the back of the net. It was an incredible game, and as you say, that Dutch team at that time were next level players. Like, and to do that was spectacular. So yeah, it's one that lives long in the Irish fans' memories. The next one, Ian, is from Ollie Ward from the Ollie Ward channel. Favorite current Leeds United player? I think you might have already named them.
Tanaka,
Yeah.
I think is
What is it about him you like?
well. Not only that, recruitment. It comes down to recruitment. These guys, obviously, they're on it. He's come from the second division in Germany, I think, for £2 or £3 million. What a player! What a signing! Obviously, getting such an important goal the other night. But no, I think everyone will be excited to see him. Please God, Leeds United get promoted this year and see him in the Premier League as well.
Hmm. You've played in lots of different clubs, and Joe Blackburn has asked, what sets Leeds apart from other clubs that people may not know?
Listen, every club that I've played for, Leeds, Levante, obviously Reading. I've say I enjoyed my time down at Reading. Obviously Eddie Howe was my manager down at Bournemouth. But Leeds, just the fan base. You know what I mean? It's like I was watching the game against Sunderland, and the noise when they got that second goal right at the end. But not only that, you go most grounds nowadays, and people have all got their phones out and they're taking videos. You go to you go to Leeds, there's no one's got a phone out. You know what I mean? They're all there. It's like a 12th man backing the team, pushing the team. So yeah, it's the fan base, and if ever you've not had a chance to get yourself down to Ellen Road, I know it's difficult to get tickets.
Hmm.
Do get there because it's a special place.
Yeah, I brought my wife to the Hull City game recently. She'd never been. She described Leeds as gaslighters, and she didn't want to go into a go into a club. But she's
Yeah,
an advocate now. She had a fantastic time. She's, and again, experiencing the stadium, the atmosphere. That was it for her. Like, so, yeah, yeah, it's a special place, especially on nights
yeah.
like that. Ian, this was asked by one of my members on the channel, a guy who goes by the name of Ice Bailey, and he has said, you're considered a free kick expert in your time. What do you put that down to develop that skill set? How did you develop that fully?
Yeah, I just obviously after training, just used to go out and practice, hitting a few free kicks, from various parts outside the edge of the box. And obviously at the time, people in England were saying it was either down to David Beckham or myself, were the best in the Premier League at that time. So yeah, it's obviously you're trying to visualize. I used to visualize the night before games, the white lines on a motorway. I used to picture that if there's a ball on certain sides of the box, I used to try and obviously hit the technique, go up, hit the ball, get the spin on it, and get the top spin down. And obviously, the more times you hit the target, then you can build up the power that you're putting behind the ball. And thankfully, I managed to score some lovely free kicks as well.
I think you had a better percentage, a conversion rate from free kicks than Beckham had.
Thanks, Joe. I'm sure your stat man will be able to tell you that.
Yeah.
But yeah, people have said that. But listen, David Beckham, golden balls, you know what I mean? English, obviously, quality player, unbelievable career. So just to be even, in the same kind of uh, named in the same level as him, it's pretty special.
You were better. We'll just leave it at that from a Leeds
Thank you.
perspective. You were better. We'll take that. Last one on the quickfire list. Well, from now I've got one question I want to ask you as well. But one Leeds player from the current crop of players that we've got at the club that you would put into the Leeds side that you played with, which might be tough.
Yeah, well, I've often said when Bielsa's team, which was an amazing team, I would love to have seen our team against their team. I think obviously Rafinha was incredible. Obviously Calvin was playing out of his skin, playing for England as well. But like our team was like an unbelievable team. You know, you had Smithy up top, Big Vidukes, you had Bow in the midfield, Harry on the left wing, Eric Backer, Jonathan Woodgate, the best defender I've ever played with. And I think physically we would have ran over the top of them. But yeah, I think in the current squad, I'd probably have to say Tanaka. But the squad that we had then, would he get in that team? Is another question because it was that good.
Yeah, I mean Oliver Decor in the centre of the park with Lee Bowyer, like
Oh,
that's a hell of a pair to get in ahead of. McPhail then as a backup, it's nuts to
yeah, Olivia
should have.
Decor was so good.
Yeah,
Probably
not
never got the
spoken about
recognition
enough
that
for me.
yeah, but
Yeah.
what's a player? Yeah,
Yeah, I loved him. I loved him. My father's favorite player at Leeds because he likes attitude over everything else and giving 100%. And the core always tick those boxes. And Ian, you've probably collected a lot of shirts in your day
yeah.
from playing. What's your pride of place on your wall?
Well, I would have said when I was playing, I had them all on the wall, but now I don't because obviously then you
You're in the
have
attic.
kids and games rooms become toy rooms and so on. But yeah, I've got some special tops. Beckham's, Figo's, Roberto Carlos, Raul. Got a Maradona one as well. So yeah, I've got hundreds of tops. So it's hard to pick one.
Okay. Okay. Won't push you too much then on it. Ian, finally, then, just for younger people that might be watching this channel or parents of kids that are playing ball at the moment, any advice that you'd give to families or kids that are considering a career in football or want to become professional footballers, as tough as that might be?
Yeah, there's a lot of sacrifices. Keep away from drink. Keep away from girls. And obviously, when you're on that pitch, when you think, oh, there's only a few people, there's always someone watching on the side of the pitch. Now, you might not know it, might be someone from Leeds or Chelsea or Manchester City. There's scouts that travel over to Ireland to watch these games. And there are scouts obviously based over in Ireland now. So, yeah, no matter when you cross that white line on that pitch, try and be the best that you can be. Because obviously, you're putting yourself in the shop window. You never know who's going to be there, and it could be the perfect day that you have the best game of your life. All of a sudden, you could have a trial over in England with a club and potentially a contract as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Great voice. Any chance of seeing Gary stick on a shirt for the charity game, or is he done with football completely?
Not a chance.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, Kells just wants to get on with his life now, and he's got two season tickets at Leeds. He
Yeah.
comes over to quite a few games, but
I was from
no,
the airport.
yeah, not interested. No.
Yeah. Good. I'm not a million miles. I live in Duleek, which is just
Yeah,
below Drogheda, so not a
just
million
down the
miles.
road. Yeah, yeah,
Down the road. Yeah, so I know it well. Ian, massive thanks again for taking time out of your day to chat to us. Again, May 10th, Carlisle Grounds in County Wicklow, Bray Wanderers Ground. If you're coming over from the UK, it's not that far from Dublin. It's a short train ride. You'll get it easy enough out of the city centre. Link down below for tickets for that game as well. Great present for somebody leading up to this game as well. If you know anyone having a birthday, do the nice thing, get them a ticket for this game. Ian, massive thanks again.
Cheers, Jay. Thanks for your time. Take care.
See you, folks.
Marching on
Bye.
together. Bye-bye.
See you.